I don't sell my life. I don't sell my lifestyle. I don't sell my cuisine. So there has to be a clear, understanding of what I eat and what I prepare as a food scientist, as an educator. Because for myself, no, I don't use any oil, I don't use any salt, I don't use any sugar. I just use fresh whole plant foods, as close to how it comes from nature to my body. But as an educator, and trying to reach people in mass, then I extend bridges to them. So I do have some dishes that I will develop with oils, being very careful, very particular about the type of oils. But ultimately, the oil that I would produce is a fresh oil, such as fresh coconut cream. We'll get the mature coconut and juice it and get that fresh oil. It's the only oil that human beings can really make ourselves using modern household appliances by just juicing that. But to use extra virgin cold press, organic olive oil, I would use that within the context of certain dishes that I'm preparing to reach a particular audience. So when it comes to salt, the only salt that we use within our cuisine in sharing with others who we know that are addicted to salt, that we cannot just extend to them, a cuisine without salt if we want to win them over. So we would use the kala namak, which is also known as black salt, which originates from India, and it's a salt that it's the only salt that is that one can use in India during fasting time, because it is reputed to leave the body as opposed to other salt that would be retained in the body. So it goes back to the ancient Ayurvedic wisdom. It has a lot of sulfur. It's a very active salt, so it really breaks down and it leaves the system very effectively. When it comes to sugars and sweeteners and things like that, if something needs to be sweetened, then we need to check whether we need to consume it. Of course, the water, if I'm using a water to prepare a blend, a nut milk or something of that nature, normally I would use coconut water, the young coconut fresh water, which is a living water, and that water has the perfect amount of sugar. So if I'm making an almond milk blended in that coconut water, it requires no sweetener whatsoever. But if one is using a still water, stagnant water, dead water that is not a living water, which they may call spring water or ionized water or alkaline water, something of that nature, those waters generally would require one to use some form of sweetener, because our body really doesn't palatalize that water the way it comes to us. So normally people would use some sweetener. So what I would use if I'm using a particular water like that, and usually if I do use a stagnant water or still water, it would be a mountain spring water. But I would use whole dates, which are about 95% sugar. No agave, no disnectar or syrup or any of those types of things. A whole food that has a maximum amount of sugar in it that doesn't require to be processed in any way, not extracted or anything of that nature. But then again, there are degrees, depend on the audience that I'm catering to, that I'm educating, that I need to be able to extend them, a bridge that may be a little more friendly. So we may, use a little drop of agave or something of that nature that is, the cleanest and safest to get them over to where we are.